prison is an opportunity. We get people when they're at their lowest point.
To err is human, but exactly how you go wrong may be what defines the specific human you are. For 7 seasons, Orange is the New Black explored character through a diverse group of women who were paying for the errors of their ways. And for most major characters, the final season zeroed in on a moral each woman had learned, or a broader theme she represented.
I want to apologize for a lot of things.
Here's our take on the ending of Orange is the New Black, character by character, and what the series taught us about continuing on when life doesn't turn out the way you hoped.
Even after you serve your time, they still find ways to punish you.
This video is brought to you by Dashlane, an online password manager and digital wallet that makes all your online activities simpler and faster. With Dashlane, you can autofill forms, log into accounts without having to rack your brain for the password, and breeze through checkouts on every device you own. So click the link in our description below, dashlane.com/thetake, to download Dashlane and get a free 30-day premium trial. In the end, Piper Chapman's story was about accepting what's not gone according to plan. Before she went to prison, Piper's life looked perfect.
Promise me you're not watching Mad Men without me.
The starting premise of Orange is the New Black was essentially that this person really didn't belong in Litchfield.
Hey, what'd you do?
I read that you're not supposed to ask that.
You read that? Well, you studied for prison?
7 seasons later, Piper is at last out of prison, and her life, trying to make ends meet as an ex-con, is anything but perfect.
I am still paying my debt.
She grapples with an unbridgeable distance between her and others of her socioeconomic class. That distance is this experience she's had of being behind bars. It's not only that her peers can't fathom it and view her as tainted.
The other ladies left because they heard the former felon thing.
It's also that this chapter fundamentally changed Piper.
I'm scared that I'm not myself in here, and I'm scared that I am.
Thanks to her privileged obliviousness and lack of self-understanding,
It was hardly a mansion.
How many bathrooms?
4 or 5. There was a half bath off the playroom.
Piper suffered from what Vox's Emily Vanderwerf called likability issues.
When you say that everybody hates me, you're being a little hyperbolic, right?
Even the actress who played her, Taylor Schilling, had her problems with Piper. She said that while Breaking Bad's Walter White always had a reason, even if he did horrific things, Piper's behavior oftentimes feels groundless.
Sisters, we may be incarcerated, but our panties will travel the world.
By the end, though, Piper did grow into a relatable character. She became a more grounded, feeling human being thanks to what she suffered. Now, when she looks at the self-involved, upper-middle-class hippie types around her, she sees the person she might still be if not for prison. She's more than that now.
I went to prison and I met parts of myself lurking inside of me that I didn't even know were in there.
And that's because her life has been imperfect, because she went astray from her plan. Prison wasn't the detour from her real life. It was her real life.
4% of my life? But it was enough to change absolutely everything.
The main thing pre-Litchfield Piper lacked was deeper perspective of the world and how she fit into it.
Oh my God, Larry, by the time I get out, they'll have been like 3 new generations of iPhones.
And since Piper is ultimately a stand-in for us, the audience entering this alien environment, the message is that we too are better people for having spent time empathizing with these women and processing the obstacles life has thrown at them.
Maybe this was the best thing that ever happened to you. Because now you can never be nice and normal again.
Over the seasons, Piper gave up much of her primacy to let more marginalized characters take the focus. Show creator Genji Cohen called Piper a Trojan horse who got viewers interested before the writers shifted to putting Black and Latina women center stage.
You could take this yuppie white girl and follow her in, and through her as like a gateway drug, you can tell all these other stories as well.
And even while the final season uses Piper to show how hard it is to get back on your feet after serving time,
I didn't realize that early release meant I was responsible for all of my monitoring and testing fees.
the show takes pains to point out that she has it less hard than almost every other ex-con.
I got women coming in here 4 kids, no support, working 3 jobs.
Ultimately, she does have a network to fall back on.
I don't know why you won't just ask Dad to help you out.
She asks her dad for help, and everything turns out all right. As the story wraps up, Piper grapples with the decision that will shape her future. Should she hold on to Alex, or leave this person behind? Over the seasons, Orange is the New Black has framed this relationship in a variety of lights, as a toxic tale of the negative influences that pull people into a life of crime, as a love story thwarted by striving to fit a middle-class heteronormative ideal, and finally, as a real love that's nonetheless stuck in an unhealthy, vicious cycle.
I don't like Alex. She put you in prison. She continues to make you suffer.
To seemingly everyone but Piper, it's obvious that Alex isn't good for her, while this awesome new woman she's met, Zelda, is a far better catch.
She's on her way and she likes you, and all you can think about is Alex.
Piper's ex-fiancé Larry offers the cynical interpretation that Piper is drawn to Alex out of a self-destructive desire to feel interesting and special.
Alex was your ticket to special.
It's safe to say many viewers were agreeing with these critiques and willing Piper to make the logical and constructive choice of leaving Alex behind for this person who appears to be better. Yet nobody else can tell you what's true in your heart, and casting out everything that's damaged in your life or yourself to admit only the shiny and new is like cutting off your own limb.
We met, and I grew another limb. And it's like she's a part of my body.
If Piper ditched Alex when it got hard, this would be the same as everyone giving up on her because she's been to prison and her life is a lot messier now. Orange is the New Black is about why we must care about people that society writes off as lost causes. We can't go around discarding people the second they no longer spark joy.
Does she spark joy?
Are you asking me to Marie Kondo my wife?
Piper chooses instead to do the hard work of rehabilitating a love that has problems. She ends the series with talk of becoming clean.
Clean living. Clean conscience.
Interestingly, these final lines bring to mind our culture's most beloved prison movie ever, which is still #1 in the IMDb Top 250, Shawshank Redemption.
Andy Dufresne, who crawled through a river of shit and came out clean on the other side.
The image of purification is a natural stand-in for the process of reflecting on and repenting for one's crimes. But here, becoming clean takes on the meaning of giving others and ourselves another chance.
And a clean slate.
Piper embodies the truth that embracing our hardship, finding a way through it, can make us wiser, kinder, and more fulfilled human beings. As Piper Chapman became less protagonist and more framing device, over the seasons another protagonist emerged, Taystee Jefferson, Taystee, the true heart and soul of Orange is the New Black.
You a full-blown Slytherin, and I'm a lion-hearted Gryffindor with the intelligence of a Ravenclaw.
Taystee's story is the inverse of Piper's. Whereas Piper ends her story back on her feet thanks to a little help from her friends and a job from her dad, when Taystee gets out of prison, she lacks any kind of support network or viable means of income besides crime.
I ain't selling drugs no more. If I get popped, they gonna send me back.
It's Dad or the street.
So she ends up back inside.
I ain't got no place to stay. I was sleeping on the floor of my second cousin's apartment like a dog. Everyone I know is poor, in jail, or gone.
Season 6 concludes with Piper leaving Litchfield, while Taystee is convicted for a crime she didn't commit, shut up deeper into the bowels of this vicious prison system, probably never to escape. It's no accident that these two characters' opposite verdicts realistically reflect the difference in their racial and socioeconomic backgrounds. Piper gets to start over, but Taystee, a black woman who spent her whole life in the system,
well, I'm a child of the system.
Finds ultimately that the world doesn't care about her innocence, about the injustice, about her. Add to this, Taystee's fight for justice for the killing of her best friend, Poussey, is not only denied, but cruelly punished.
All I wanted was for the person who killed my friend to be up here where I am now, telling you why he murdered.
And the show's final season is really about this protagonist grappling with despair.
I mean, it's every night for the rest of your life. Looking at the same darkness in the same box. It's 20,000 nights.
Suicide appears to be her last available means of agency.
But if I'm not alive, then I'm not in prison. That's the only way that I can have some kind of control over my own life.
Not to mention her only way out of Litchfield, ever.
Finally got your last meal, huh? At least you found your way out this place.
Orange is the New Black has presented countless stories of people getting crushed and forgotten by a system that doesn't care about human beings.
Our fight is with a system that don't give a damn about poor people and brown people and poor brown people.
Meanwhile, the show has also reveled in the humor and spirit of these characters who have so many strengths worth celebrating. So does the series want to end with despair over a broken world? Or hope in the clever, creative, loving individuals who persevere in spite of everything?
I can't hope. I don't have no more fight left in me.
Ultimately, through Taystee, Orange is the New Black chooses hope.
I think I'm gonna keep swinging a little bit longer, see what I hit.
Taystee's last season arc also bears a notable resemblance to Shawshank Redemption, a wrongfully convicted, inspirational character the audience fears will commit suicide, sees the plucky young mentee they've tutored tragically die shortly after passing the GED. And at the heart of both stories is an affirmation of hope.
Hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good thing ever dies.
Not only when it seems justified, but even more so when life appears utterly hopeless. Taystee's turning point comes through a flashback to a call with Poussey, who reminds her that in spite of all the darkness, life includes joys and loves we can never anticipate.
You know, what kind of life would that have been if I never met you?
You gotta hold on a little longer than you think you can.
There's good shit working its way to you that you don't even know about.
In the end, the hope Taystee finds isn't in the world, but in herself. The wrongs against her may never be righted, but she could make a positive difference for others.
If they don't get some kind of assist within the first 72 hours, they probably gonna end up criming and landing their asses back in here, like I did.
And she shows that optimism is found through creating something you believe in, contributing to a better world, helping someone else.
This is financial literacy. This is gonna help you get off the poverty bus, or at least get you enough money so that you ain't gotta do illegal shit no more, okay?
Daya's story ends just as it began, with her getting attacked by her mother. Dayanara and Aleida Diaz represent the toxic cycle of generational trauma and a pernicious system that destroys whole families. When Orange is the New Black begins, Aleida comes off as a nightmare mom.
You need to look after them better.
How about you?
I got better things to do. I'm eating oysters, bitches.
While Daya is a sweet, artistic, romantic flower. Daya is clearly a victim of circumstance and of a mother who made a lot of bad choices.
I take a fall for that motherfucker. The least he could do is visit. Hey, I have an idea. You want to ask how we're doing?
But the final season delves into how Aleida herself was a victim of circumstances, pushed into this life of bad choices by her own mother.
The last guy kept pinching me, and his breath smelled like dog treats. If he wants to pinch you, let him pinch you.
Moreover, this woman, who was taught terrible coping techniques from childhood, is often acting out of a fierce desire to protect her children.
Little girl.
Tragically, her misguided actions tend to push her kids toward the very dangers she's trying to prevent.
I can't have that. I can't have another one up like that.
Daya is, more than any other character, changed beyond recognition for the worse by her time in prison.
I'll run this place.
It's symbolic that the drugs Taystee considers using to kill herself come from Daya. Facing down an entire life without escape from these walls, she gets hooked on drugs, and her addiction turns her into a cold-hearted crime lord and killer.
Who's this evil junkie? I don't even recognize you.
In this final mother-daughter moment on screen, Aleida's violence is triggered by Daya's plan to involve her sisters in crime.
Leave the family stuff to me, because he was going to do whatever I tell her to do. And we maybe even bring Lucy in.
The image of this desperate mother trying to kill her own daughter to save her family captures the tragic losing battle she's been fighting all along. It helps us understand that the first slap had the same meaning, Aleida's misery that she couldn't stop her daughter from ending up where she did.
Oh, from here on out, this place will hit you for me.
Actress Dasha Polanco confirmed that the writers assured her Daya doesn't die here. But Polanco interpreted the symbolism of the ending. Her story is the product of a cycle that we, as a community, need to intervene in. The system is broken, and it's very obvious when we see all these stories. They're the forgotten ones.
What happened to you? You used to be sweet. Drawing and talking about boring shit.
Maritza, the beauty who defines herself by how much she gets looked at,
I've had a lot of stalkers over the years.
Right. Because of your face?
And my body.
ends her story on Orange is the New Black with being disappeared. After getting picked up by ICE, she's shocked to discover that she wasn't born in the US as she always believed. But while she eventually has a good defense shaping up,
And they put me in touch with a lawyer. She said I actually might have a good case.
she makes the gutsy move to help other detainees access a lawyer, and she's quickly deported. Her story proves the moral that no good deed goes unpunished in our world.
The hot ones always gotta cause trouble.
But that makes it all the more important that you do the right thing. We see this determination in Maritza's eyes when she decides to extend a hand to the other women in her situation, even though she knows it will likely cost her.
This is for a lawyer.
Maritza's ending also illustrates how much of life comes down to luck. The plot of her hitting it off with an NBA player represents how close she comes to getting the fairy tale she always dreamed of.
As soon as I get back, we're gonna plan some traveling too. Buying you a ticket to visit me in LA.
It seemed incredibly plausible that Maritza would be rewarded by our society for her looks.
Yo, you just hit 10,000 views.
No shit! Let me see this! All these comments are about you, though.
There's a bitter, unfair randomness in her getting picked up in a raid after she's made the smart, responsible choice not to risk violating her parole.
Cheer up, girl. You did the right thing. Better than ending up back in prison.
She almost got exactly what she wanted.
I could have been a wifey, or a trophy wife, or a real housewife. All I ever wanted to be was anything with the word wife in it, you know?
And the only thing that separates her from one of those rich basketball wives is timing, a bad break. The series uses Maritza to speak to incredibly raw current events.
This is America.
Not in here.
And it masterfully makes viewers feel these events on a deeply personal level, through someone they've come to care about over years of watching.
And I called them and I told them all about you. How cute and fly you are, and how you're basically like the next Kylie Jenner, and they have to save you.
Maritza is the perfect character to enter this world through. She's a young, beautiful person who's fully American.
They can't deport Maritza? Yo, she's never even been to Colombia.
She's always been a comic, joyful character.
You stupid, dumb Colombian Barbie.
Okay, 1, I'm Colombian American, and 2, what does my hotness have to do with this?
And we can easily imagine things going well for her. All this makes her sudden disappearance shocking and painful to behold. Meanwhile, her final image highlights just how many others like her that we haven't got to know are going through equally unimaginable pain.
Por favor, no haga esto. Toda mi vida está aquí. Mi familia está aquí.
As they're denied their rights, disappeared, and treated as if they never existed at all.
What happened?
She disappeared.
Stay tuned for our next Orange is the New Black video, covering what happens to the rest of the ladies in Orange.
The band is broken up.
This video is brought to you by Dashlane, an app that gives you a shortcut for everything you do online. With Dashlane, you can log into accounts with a single click, autofill forms with personal information and payment details, and buy tickets to shows and movies on the fly. Their built-in VPN allows you to stream the content you want when you want it. And their password sharing function lets you share online accounts with your friends and family without actually having to reveal your password. If you want your digital life to be convenient and lightning fast, Dashlane is a must-have. So click the link in our description below, dashlane.com/thetake, to download Dashlane and get a free 30-day premium trial.